I'm going to start working on the fore and aft structures now. So these are very involved. And Pontos have a whole page devoted for each one. So this will be spread over multiple parts, I think. And I'm not going to show everything purely because a lot of this stuff we've seen before. So the first thing to do is remove a lot of this molded detail, like doors and these parts here. Just because Pontos is replacing them with photo etch. We'll fix up these holes. Got holes on the side because they're molded on an angle. They're oval, so we'll fix them up as well. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is I'll go through and mark them up to all the detail that has to come off because there's quite a lot. Okay, so I've marked up all the molded detail that needs to be removed for the Pontos. It's quite a bit. I'm not actually going to show you that. You've seen enough of it throughout all the other videos in the process, so let me do that and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've cleaned off all the detail that needed to come off for the Pontos parts on both structures, so these are all smooth, ready for the plates. I also filled in the oval holes on this side, angled ones here, and re-drilled them, okay? So what I think we'll do next is we'll install these deck plates from Pontos. And again, I've roughened up the back side just to give the glue some integrity. And I'm going to continue with this E6000. I'm keen to give it a good try, so let's just, again, we'll go around the perimeter and we'll just hold it back from the edges. And make sure we squeeze it down flat so there's no bulges sticking up. Oh, some loose. I think you can clean this glue up with acetone, so some of it's oozed out, got onto my fingers, and it's now getting transferred onto the top plate. But that's okay, the brass will be easy enough to clean. Let's go around and squeeze it down. This part here, where it's oozed out of, that's for the rear shield to the con. So we should be able to clean this up, because I think this E6000, it sets up quite flexible and rubbery, so we'll be able to pick that out if it's in there, so it shouldn't be a problem. I'll just do this one next, and then we'll come back and clean it up. So again, just scuffed up the back. The fit of the Pontos plates are really nice. On this one, I just had to relieve the inside edge of this lip on one side, and that was all it needed. But I was just used the edge of a blade to scrape the plastic down. It didn't take much. I think it's down nice on all the edges. Nothing's bulging up or not fully home, so that's good. Okay, so let's see if we can clean up some of that glue. So I'm just going to use acetone, and I've just dispensed some into this palette. Okay, so we'll just dip our cotton bud in acetone. We don't want to have too much because we don't want it flowing underneath, because it will affect the glue obviously. And it will actually damage the plastic if you leave it on too long and rub it. But that's coming off very easily with acetone. Okay, a couple of spots on here, but this one was a lot better. It was a lot better in the top. Okay, so like I say, I'll wait to the E6000 goes off, and then we can come in with the pliers and just pick it up. You can almost do it now. Hopefully you can see that. But I'll wait until it's fully set up. The Pontos plates are really nice. As you can see, we've got some etched parts, locations, and that's for plates. We've got a gun mount here to go on, and then you can see where we've cut off the plastic ribs. We've got brass etched ones to fit into here. While we're waiting for the glue to set up here, we can work on the con. There's two, one at each end, and here's the location. So it comes in 3 parts in the kit. So you've got the main armoured con, the roof, and then this back armour plate which protects the entrance. I'm not going to do it, but normally this is looking from underneath. People would come in through the side and then in through an opening in the con here. I'm not going to cut this to provide a con purely because it means additional work on the floor, because then it would be a single floor from this deck into the con. And once everything's in place, you're not going to see very much, if anything. So the kit parts are quite nice. So it sits on there nicely anyway. The underside of the roof actually has these 2 little pegs, and they correspond to pegs here. So we can fit that now. I'll just apply a little bit of extra thin just to get it started. So what I'll do is, I'm not going to glue it to here because I'm going to paint this separately. I'm just going to build it on the actual deck itself just to establish the structure. So the underside has got a couple of little pegs and there's a couple of holes on the deck, and that fits in there quite nicely. So what I'll do is I'll put that in place there and then put that in place. So that sits nicely into there, and then we can tweak this slightly because we want the top to be equidistant all the way around. So with that held in position, we can now just glue the supports here. A couple in the back. Just checking to see how flat the bottom is. Okay, so that's sitting a wee bit high. So if I put it like that, you can see the base is sitting nicely. I haven't taken into account the height of the pegs, so it's sitting a bit proud. It's actually sitting flush with the deck, even with this down. So before I paint it, and once this is glued up, what I need to do is just remove some of the bottom here. And then that will reduce the height of the con, which will take the base of this below this surface into that groove. Because when you try this up separately, it fits inside the groove and the 2 pins fit into the holes. But with it on the con, it doesn't have enough depth, so I'll have to reduce this height. I don't know if you can see, the back shield should be below this deck, but it's not. I can actually turn it past. It doesn't need much. We can take some height off of here, or we can scrape down in here to reduce the height to get the shield to fit properly in there. But that's a con glued up anyways. I've slowly been cutting out, cleaning up and collecting all the parts together for the fore and aft superstructures. And we'll just touch on any bits that's slightly different or new from what we've done before. So the next part I want to look at is these boxes, and there's 2 each in the front and aft. And they have a hand wheel and spindle. So we'll just clean these up first. So we need to find the centre so we can drill a 0.5mm hole. So what I'm doing is I'm just using some tape to go from corner to corner, and then where they cross is going to be the centre point. And then we can come in just mark that. And then using the 0.5mm drill, then we'll just test the spindle fit. Okay, so that's going to fit in there nicely. So we want to solder the hand wheel onto the spindle next. So we'll just place that into a hole drilled in this block here. And then we'll just apply tiniest amount of solder paste to the top. And then we'll fit the hand wheel on. We'll just have a look, make sure it's nice and square. And then using the soldering iron, we want to just touch the very top of the spindle without touching the wheel, if we can help it. Okay, so that's soldered, it's on a slight angle, see if we can, that's better. Okay, it's looking not too bad, and we should be able to just pick it up. Okay, and then we'll just dip the spindle into super glue. And then that's the first one made. So I'll do the same for the other three. So the next part we'll look at is these blocks here, and as you can see it's got an eye here, and that's for the mast stays to connect to, and these are replaced by a couple of float wedge parts. So we'll just clean this up first. So we need to take off obviously the mould parts for process, but we've also to take off the eye as well, and then we'll give that a clean up. Okay, so with that cleaned up, I'm going to highlight just what I think is an issue with the Pontos. Here's the plate it goes on, and you can see the top, the mark for the eye ring itself. If you hold that onto there, hopefully you can see how it's overlong and extends past the body of this block here. So I might actually try and bend this bottom row bend this at about 45 degrees. That does it to be better. I'll give one a try anyway, and then I might bend them all. But this one certainly appears to fit. It just didn't look right having a plate extend into mid-air. Okay, so we'll solder up the eye. So it's very easy to squeeze together. Solder paste. Oops. Squeeze that together. And solder, it's went on the outside. We'll solder it onto this plate here. Just need to look at instructions, I'm not sure what way around it goes. So you can see, so the little tail is what goes onto the plate. Like that. Just put a little dab there. Not sure just how clear that was, but it's on anyway. Just get my orientation correct. Goes on like that. So we'll just use some extra thin super glue. rest of them now. So the next thing we'll make is this photo etch gun mount. It sits on the deck just in there. It's made up of a single part. Hopefully you can see. On the back side there's little etched lines, and that's to aid in folding or rolling the part. But what we'll do is we'll anneal that area first. So what that does is it just softens the brass and takes the spring out of it. So we're using the gas torch. So we'll just use a piece of foam, it's quite dense, and then a drill bit of a suitable size. Okay, so it's folded together, not too bad. It's pretty good, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack each side. And that'll just hold it in place now. And now I can just do any final tweaks to the position of the top and bottom plates. It's a wee bit rough, but I'm actually trying to fill any gaps. Now we'll just clean it up with various sanding sticks and okay, so that's that one cleaned up. Again, just fits into the deck there. The other one we made earlier. Okay. So next up we'll plate the front part of the superstructure. So I've trial fitted the photo etch parts, two of them here. And we need to fit the underside one first and then the top front one, because that covers the front edge. Hopefully you can see on the superstructure there's actually mold lines, or like panels or plates or whatever, and that lines are actually etched into the photo etch as well to fit around them, which is a nice touch. So I'm going to use the E6000 again. So I put a tiny little bead in the dot. Okay, my nozzle's kind of burst. And it's getting everywhere. I'll just use a comb to push it down. bit open at the end there, in this end. But that's okay, I'll put in, I'm putting super glue. Okay, we're a bit overflow here, that's okay. Can just peel it off. Yes, so my nozzle has got a split on it, so as I was moving across, it was getting onto the front surface. But that's okay, I should be able to just roll it up because it's quite a flexible glue. Okay. First one on. Okay, so with the bottom plate set up, we can now put on the top plate, the front plate. So because of the plastic nozzle I'd made is split, I made another one out of brass tube. Ideally I should have made it a bit longer, but we'll give this one a go. Now we want to make sure it's flush at the top. So just push it down and put it flat on the mat. And we'll just make sure it's pressed into position there. It's looking quite good. Just have to put some super glue at the ends again because I never put the E6000 right at the very end for it oozing out. Oozed out slightly here maybe, but we need super glue in this corners as well. But that's looking very good. We just put some super glue into this side here. Yep. There we go. Okay, so that's the front done. Okay, so we can now put on the doors. I've just marked out the locations with some tape just to keep the distances correct. So I made up the foot wedge doors off camera because we've seen these been done before. And I'm just going to use super glue gel to attach them. And I'm just going to put it into the corners. Okay, so the rear superstructure's got double doors on that. That's undone. So there is wriggles to go above them, but I'll leave them for the time being. So we'll also attach these blocks that we made earlier with the eye-rings for the mast stays. Now if you remember this one here, I actually bent the plate down to go under. I did another one, but so we've got two. It was a bit of a hassle, so what I've done is I've just followed the Pontos instructions for the other four, because these superstructures, only the fore one has got two, so I use the two bent ones, and there's four on the rear, so we use the other four. So I'm just going to use contact that, and it'll just give me a bit of wiggle room. So there is actual locations marked on the, I'm not sure if you can see, there is some lines there that we just need to line it up with. Gee, these are very frustrating. Yeah, they're actually wider than the locating points, that's why I'm having so much difficulty. Take this one off, and then that back locating line I'll just remove. I'll just use the extra thin to clean up. Ah, that's better now. Gee, that was a lot more hassle than I was expecting. Okay, so that's that side done. I'll let this go off before I tackle the other, because I don't want to move in. I'll double check the lines. Yeah, okay, so the marked positions on the actual part is too narrow compared to what they supply. So again, I'll just remove one of them. So that gives me a bottom line in one side to align it with. Remember, we need to use the one with the bent plate, because I've only got two of them. That was so much easier. Just check it, it's vertical. Okay, so I'll finish these off. Okay, so that's that blocks glued onto the superstructures now. And they were probably the most trickiest part of this whole superstructure so far. There is additional tie-down points or lashing eyes, or whatever you want to call them. And these I just soldered together, so a simple eye onto a plate. And these are located all over the superstructures at various points. But I'm not going to install them now. In fact, I'm going to call the video at this point. There's still a number of small details to go on, such as there's braces or gussets to go similar to the plastic ones along here on both of them. We've got the wriggles, these eye bolts, we've got the portholes ready to go. And I want to move on to the upper deck, because these will then potentially have trial fits to do. So I don't want to put too much of the fine detail on in case I damage them trial fit in the upper decks. So we'll stop here, and then the next video we'll have a look at the upper deck.